Jay, is it normally this crowded for
No.
pre-game speeches?
No, they don't want to hear about everybody who's out.
No, on a serious note,
When the Mavericks pulled off the deal of the decade to land Anthony Davis from the Los Angeles Lakers, everyone thought they were witnessing the start of a new super team. AD and Kyrie Irving uniting in Dallas to chase a title, while Luka Doncic moved to the bright lights of LA to partner with LeBron James. A few weeks later, the story has taken a wild turn, one that nobody saw coming. The fanfare in Dallas has given way to alarm bells and frustration, as yet another groin flare-up has sidelined Anthony Davis. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Luka is making an immediate impact, partnering with LeBron, and giving the Lakers a reason to believe they just pulled off the biggest heist in NBA history. Why did Dallas gamble so heavily on such an injury-prone player in the first place? And can they salvage this season before it turns into a total disaster? Let's unravel this roller coaster of a story. Being bold is admirable until your shiny new asset crumbles. The Mavericks wanted to turn themselves into overnight contenders. Their formula seemed simple. AD, who can dominate in the paint, with Kyrie, whose handles, vision, and shot creation make any defense quiver. If everything had gone right, they might have leapt into the top tier of the Western Conference. After all, you'd have two of the most talented scorers in the game, each capable of dropping 30 on any given night. But championships aren't won on paper, and the reality has set in faster than Dallas expected. With AD forced to the sidelines, there's suddenly an alarming void. Dwight Powell is serviceable, but hardly a solution for a team aiming at a deep playoff run. Maxi Kleber can stretch the floor, but he can't replicate AD's shot-blocking presence. And while Kyrie can dazzle with his scoring, the rest of the roster isn't built to thrive in an offense that's missing its star big man. Behind the scenes, rumors suggest Kyrie's patience is already wearing thin. For months, he was excited about playing with Luka, but that dream ended the moment the trade call came through. Instead, he's now saddled with an unreliable co-star. During press conferences, Kyrie keeps it calm and professional, but one can't help wonder what he thinks in private moments. He's on the cusp of free agency next year. Why hitch himself to a franchise that just let its best player walk and gambled on someone so prone to injuries? For the moment, Dallas is trying to patch up holes and stay afloat until AD returns. But every day he's absent is another day fans and analysts question whether the front office made the worst move in team history. And you can feel the anxiety in the arena. Is this going to torpedo any hopes of a deep playoff run? Anthony Davis has always been known for his breathtaking talent, but just as notorious is his track record for landing on the injury report. While every player experiences aches and pains, AD's troubles always seem to hit at the worst possible times. Early in his career, it was sprained ankles and back spasms. Later, it became a lingering Achilles scare, a problematic shoulder, and worst of all, groin issues that can shut a player down for weeks, sometimes months. This most recent setback with the Mavericks fits a familiar pattern. A strong opening, a few electric plays that remind fans why AD is an MVP caliber force, and then the dreaded announcement, Anthony Davis will miss time due to a groin strain. Many teams have tried to manage his minutes. New Orleans watched him blossom from a promising rookie into a top 10 star, while also juggling his frequent trips to the treatment room. The Lakers had sports science experts working around the clock to keep him healthy, from advanced physiotherapy routines to specialized workout regimens. But the one thing they couldn't change was how easily he seemed to get hurt. Now it's Dallas's turn to learn that lesson the hard way. The front office believed a fresh start might let AD put the past behind him. New environment, new teammates, new training staff. Yet, here we are again, just a few games in, and the dreaded groin problem rears its head. You can almost hear fans from opposing teams saying, "We told you so." Behind every major trade, there are locker room stories that never fully see the light of day. Rumors have started to swirl about unrest within the Mavericks organization. Some voices in the locker room question whether the front office gave Luka up too easily. Others wonder if head coach Jason Kidd had enough input on the deal. And then there are the hush-hush tales of Kyrie's frustration boiling over in private conversations, especially as he sees how seamlessly Luka is fitting in with LeBron in Los Angeles. One storyline that's hard to ignore is whether the Mavericks thoroughly evaluated AD's medical condition before finalizing the trade. Of course, a typical physical exam happens before any blockbuster deal is made official, but groin issues can be tricky. They often feel fine one day, only to flare up under the rigors of high-level competition. There's speculation that the Mavs either overlooked certain red flags or convinced themselves they could handle them better than the Lakers. If that's true, it speaks to a degree of desperation that might bite them far worse than just losing a few games. Fans who once hailed Mark Cuban as a forward-thinking owner are now calling into local sports radio shows, demanding to know why the organization gutted its future for a gamble. The local press, too, is piling on. "The Mavs mortgaged everything for a player who can't stay healthy," screams one headline. Sports talk shows keep pointing to Kyrie's contract situation, stirring fear that he might walk next summer, leaving Dallas empty-handed and battered by regret. On the flip side, the Los Angeles Lakers are living in a state of near euphoria. Sure, LeBron isn't the unstoppable force he once was, but he's still top tier. Now he has Luka Doncic as a running mate, someone widely recognized as a generational talent. If you thought LeBron and Dwyane Wade were a terrifying tandem, wait till you see LeBron and Luka sync up. In just a handful of games together, the synergy is evident. Luka's court vision and mesmerizing step-back jumpers are tailor-made for Showtime in purple and gold. Luka, for his part, seems to be enjoying the bright lights of Hollywood. He's always had a flair for the dramatic, and Los Angeles welcomes that kind of star power. The fan base has embraced him as the new face of the franchise, an heir apparent to keep the Lakers relevant once LeBron calls it a career. Additionally, there's an entire global fan market that's followed Luka from Europe to the States, and that market just got even bigger. For the Lakers, the trade might go down as one of the biggest steals in modern NBA history. They swapped an older star who's been battling the same injuries for years for a younger superstar who can do it all. While there's still work to be done in terms of roster construction, particularly at the center position, they've solved the biggest puzzle piece for life after LeBron. As soon as Luka arrived, the energy in the Staples Center, still sometimes called that by nostalgic fans, shifted. Merch sales soared, the stands filled up with new jerseys, and the media spotlight that always glows over LA became that much brighter. Expectations around AD were always sky high. At his peak, he's an MVP-level force, an unstoppable mix of athleticism, skill, and length. He can give you 30 points, 15 rebounds, 5 blocks, and a handful of assists on a great night. But the dreaded "if healthy" qualifier has followed him from New Orleans to Los Angeles and now to Dallas. The question has never been whether AD can dominate, it's whether his body will let him. For Dallas, the plan was to make a deep run this year or next, while Kyrie remains under contract and theoretically in his prime. But if AD is sidelined in these crucial months, there's a chance the Mavs might slip down the standings. That puts them in an uncomfortable position of playing catch-up come playoff time, and that's if AD is even healthy enough to suit up then. Meanwhile, Kyrie's entire premise for enjoying life in Dallas was built on the idea that he'd have another star to share the burden. He liked playing with Luka, but Luka's departure was supposed to be offset by the unstoppable interior presence of AD. Now, Kyrie's carrying an even bigger load, and it's leading some analysts to question if he'll reevaluate his commitment to the Mavericks. To make matters worse, there are rumors of upcoming changes in the front office if the trade backfires so spectacularly. While nothing is confirmed, the chatter around potential staff shuffles and internal blame games is growing louder by the day. If the team finishes the season in disappointment, or if AD requires surgery that keeps him out indefinitely, expect that noise to become deafening. Mavericks fans remember the glory days of Dirk Nowitzki and the 2011 championship run. After Dirk's retirement, Luka Doncic seemed like the perfect heir to carry the torch for the next decade. Dallas had a beloved star, a bright future, and the sense that they were building something special. Trading away Luka was the kind of move that only makes sense if you think you're one piece away from winning it all, and you have a surefire bet that the piece you're getting is reliable. So what happens if it's anything but reliable? The nightmare scenario is that AD misses much of this season, Kyrie grows weary of the situation, and the Mavericks end up out of the playoffs or making an early exit. Then, come free agency, Kyrie could walk away, leaving Dallas with an injured AD on a massive contract and little else. That's how a franchise slips into a dark age, by pinning their hopes on a fragile star and watching the rest of their talent drain away. Even if AD regains health for the postseason, doubts are already sown. Defenses will question if he can play with the same explosiveness, and teammates might wonder if they can trust him to be there night after night. The psychological toll alone could derail team chemistry. Throw in the fact that other Western Conference squads, like the Nuggets, Warriors, and Suns, show no mercy to teams still figuring it out. And you have a scenario where the Mavs fall into mediocrity for years to come. Meanwhile, the Lakers don't have to worry about any of that. They boast arguably the best duo in the league with Luka and LeBron, and even if Father Time catches up to LeBron, having Luka as a centerpiece ensures the Lakers won't fade anytime soon. They can attract free agents with the allure of playing in Los Angeles, contending alongside a generational playmaker who's just entering his prime. It's everything Dallas thought they were building, shifted to Hollywood. So here we stand, watching a trade once celebrated by the Mavericks become a source of dread. Anthony Davis is on the bench again, nursing the same groin injuries that have haunted him for years. Kyrie Irving is left to shoulder the load, and whispers swirl about how much longer he'll choose to stay. The front office is under siege from fans and media alike, and the once futuristic hopes of the franchise have been replaced by uneasy questions. Meanwhile, across the country, Luka Doncic is quickly becoming the toast of Los Angeles. LeBron James and Luka are forging a bond that has every Lakers fan daydreaming about multiple championship banners in the not-so-distant future. It's already paying off in highlight reel plays and late-game heroics. For the Lakers, the path is clear. Nurture this dynamic duo, fill in the roster holes, and watch as another golden era takes shape. The real question is, can the Mavericks find a way out of this precarious situation before it spirals into a full-on disaster? Will Anthony Davis manage to patch things up, avoid surgery, and return in time to prove that Dallas didn't just make one of the worst trades in league history? Or is this the start of a long, painful era for a franchise that bet everything on a superstar whose body might not cooperate? In the end, every championship dream hinges on a mixture of talent and luck. Right now, the Mavericks are short on luck, and if they don't catch a break soon, this experiment might be remembered more for what it cost than for what it ever delivered. Let that serve as a reminder to every front office out there. Sometimes a sure bet isn't so sure after all.